are live, probably.
Oh, we are. They don't hear the first couple seconds.
Dap 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 dap.
Dun, 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 dun.
We are live, although I can't hear us, so maybe not live. I don't know, are we live?
We're live. Yes, we are.
Okay.
Hi, guys. We're
You
live.
sure?
See,
Let's see. I'm
not
live.
only are we live, we're alive.
What?
We're alive
Okay, now. There we go.
now.
Okay, how do we sound? Maybe OBS is finally like patched.
Did you get an update?
Well, I don't know if it asks, but I think that's about the same level. That'd be
There you go.
nice. I mean,
That would be nice.
it was fine for like 2 years or whatever, and then, you know.
Hi, guys. We're back to talk about TNG Season 3, Episode 6. Booby Trap. Booby. They said booby. Yeah. Rules. I like boobies.
He's a trap.
So you'd be Butthead and I'd be Beavis, I guess, because you got Butthead's hair. I got Beavis's. I'm kind of blonde, and
Thanks.
I am the great Cornholio. I need tippy for my bunghole. Bungholio.
Going well.
It is going well. Hi, guys. Beavis and Butthead of Star Trek YouTube show. We should do a whole episode just as Beavis and Butthead. That'd be funny.
I have to really re-examine that show though to get the nuance,
Oh, yes. The nuance.
because there's nuance to that show, right?
Yes. Have to stick my jaw out.
But Stuart, we
Anyway.
have some pre-chat super chats.
Oh, we do. We got some cool stuff. We got a new member of the channel, the rank of Commander. That's Working Class Zero, so thank you very much. Always good to have another member. We got Ozzy Medeiros.
Yeah.
Puts in $10. Thank you, Ozzy. All hail the great Commander
Oh.
and his captain, Foley. Skeleton hands. So no governor. We didn't call you governor today. That's good. And Olivia Julius is here, $5. Been a long time since we talked to Olivia.
Months, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Or address today. Filmed the Trekyards originals.
Oh.
Blew a tire and got my favorite episode reviewed today.
Oh.
It's a good day.
Well, that's a mixed day.
Yeah. There's a lot happening.
Was it blown tire before or after we chatted?
It was afterwards. Afterwards. She sent me a picture of it because she's like, I wear a dress, and look what happens. This is why I don't wear dresses. And she sent a picture of the tire.
Right.
Shit.
So that's how that works, is it?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Fun.
Absolutely. So you're going to go share this around. I'm going to tell them all about Super Chats.
Oh.
We already got one, which is great.
Sure, I can do that. See you in a moment.
You can do that, and you will do that. Do it now. Super chats are great. Like you saw, we got two already. One from Ozzy, one from Olivia. Two of our regulars, which is great. If you're not a regular, if you're new to the channel, or if you're just watching, you want to input some interesting facts, have a question answered, anything like that. Good way to do it is to send us a super chat. We will read it on air, and we will address it as needed. And it's a great way to support the channel, help us continue to make these awesome shows for you guys. Not just the live streams, but everything. Sterling Holmes, first live stream ever of Trekyards, one of my favorite episodes of TNG. Well, welcome, Sterling Holmes. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by joining the channel at the rank of Commander, Captain, or Admiral, or by helping us out with a super chat, or join us on our Patreon, or send us a PayPal. There's a lot of great stuff, a lot of great ways to help us out in the links in the description below. Things from like Trekyards merchandise from the Teespring store, stuff like that. So, but yeah, Sterling, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, as it really helps us out, helps you out. And make sure you click the notification bell icon to all, so you get notified every time we upload. We do regular episodes every Saturday. When Picard or like Discovery Season 3 is on, whatever, we will be doing stuff throughout the week as well. Plus, we always do our lives during the week, which are episode reviews or just general discussions. Or this Wednesday is actually awesome because we have Mr. Rick Sternbach joining us for a Q&A like Doug Drexler did not last week, but the week before. No, not this week. No, not last week, but the week before. Doug Dresser was 2 weeks ago. So we'll have Rick Sternbach on, and you can come on in and be able to ask him questions and stuff as well. He'll be hanging out with us live for about 2 hours on Wednesday at the same time, 5 Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, some good stuff this week. We'll have a few episode reviews. We'll have Rick on. So lots of fun stuff. And Rick's done a lot of design work. Even in TNG, he designed like the props, like the hypospray and the tricorder and stuff like that. And then of course Voyager, he did a lot of the ships in Voyager. So I mean, he's a pretty awesome designer and a cool guy to listen to. He's like a grandpa. He's got these really cool stories, so. And Bask, you can come on and ask him what he thinks of the ships. I know he's watched the show. I'm not sure what he thinks about the ships specifically, but I would love to hear his thoughts as well. So Wednesday will be a good time to come on in and ask him that if you can. Just due to demand and to keep things simple, super chat questions will be the ones that we take care of on that. But yeah, if you guys want to come in and ask Rick anything, he will be here on Wednesday. Wednesday.
That's exciting on Trekyards.
Yes, we'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Is that Simpsons?
No, it's just for like monster truck stuff. But yeah, I think it was used in The Simpsons.
Speaking of monster trucks, though, it's episode 6, Stuart, not 5. I just want to tweak the title.
But.
It's okay.
That was episode 6. I mean 5. I mean what?
Yes. Feel the numbers flow through you.
No, I don't want to do that.
It's okay. I got some spellings wrong because I don't know how to spell, and
yeah,
it's fine.
Okay, fine. Good God, man. I never bring up when you make a mistake. Seriously, come on now.
I was helping you out. That was not
yes.
to bring out.
Excellent.
Super chat, you say?
There's a few of them.
Ooh. Well, I'm glad I went away, so I can come back and enjoy.
Well, every time you go away, they always super chat better because they don't like you. I'm just kidding. I actually get more super chats when you are here. When I do my own lives, I hardly get any super chats because I'm...
Not true. Well, it's sort of true. Sometimes true. Depends on the topic or no topic. But you also tend to get the one person who's like a 40 and it's like, oh my god, that's worth it. That never happens on these when we're together. Unless we're doing drunk ones, then that's fair enough.
Anyway, on that note, Eugene is here and he puts in 500 rubles.
Glad you're here. Thank you.
The one where Geordie LaForge goes full broccoli. Is there any chance Reg Hollow Pursuits was initially developed for LaForge? Probably. Geordie's got one of those, weird characters that can never get a date and seems kind of creepy and weird and always talks to the computer. He talks to the computer better than he talks to people. So, I mean, that would make perfect sense. And I can see them like, we'll bring in a recurring character to make him not look like such a creeper.
I guarantee that was written for the guy as well. I bet they were like, here's an idea. Dwalt would be great for that, and they got him. It was like, that is better than we thought. I bet that was he was the first choice. Especially how Geordie isn't essential in that. It wouldn't work with Geordies per se. But I mean, I know what you mean. But I'm kind of glad I didn't go down the creepy route with Geordie. Sometimes later, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Although Stuart, as we know, he does end up marrying Leah Brahms. So I mean,
he marries a Leah. We don't know if it's Leah Brahms.
I think it was confirmed. It was intended to be.
Oh, well, there you go.
So that's nice. First holo date. Kiss on the first holo date, and then it took 5 more years to kiss on the real first date or whatever. But
that's cheating.
Well, there's the computer correctly worked out that they would fall in love. That's called clever computing.
It's cheating. Judge, 1981 throws in $10. So thank you, Judge.
Thanks.
It's been an awesome live so far for Super Chat. So keep it up, guys. Great episode. Been very busy getting crops planted. Sending my love. Well, thank you very much, Judge. Appreciate that. And yes, crops are important.
And if you're still here, what crops? That's an unusual tweet. Comment Super Chat. So that's cool. Let us know.
And my Fungili from Argilili puts in $2 and retracted her message, so it must have been
redactedly
questionable.
Maybe it should have been a booby joke.
Well, Supercoops already did. I feel compelled to watch anything with Booby in the title.
That is, so you've been here for years just for this moment.
It's true.
Now you
And Jeff
subscribes
Jacobs.
today.
And Jeff Jacobs puts in $2 and says 50 and under 15.
Mm.
This is how we do. Again at 100. Hashtag make Jeff pay. 75 of you here. Make sure you hit that like button, guys.
90 on the 92.
92 on his. There you go. So make sure you hit the like button, guys. And if you're new to the channel, we did have some new people here already. It said first Trekyards stream. Love this episode. So if you got, just make sure you're subscribed and make sure that you come back and check out other stuff by us as well. So. Lots of cool stuff. So Judge 1981 has planted sweet corn, leeks, and lots of vegetables.
Wow.
So there.
Not what I was expecting. Not what I was expecting. That's awesome. Good luck, man.
All right.
So
Booby Trap.
What do you think of this episode? Season 2, episode 3, episode
6, 3, 5. What? Who?
Premillion. Which I did remember the word Premillion. Or Parmillion, however they would say it, from the off. What do you think of this episode, Stuart? As we're now first third of TNG Season 3. The best, the start of the good days.
I'll get to that after the next super chat. Jersey throws in $5. According to Worf in Transfigurations, to attract a mate, a man must let her see the fire in your eyes. Poor Geordi. Yeah.
He does do that with Brahms.
Well, the visor, you can't see the fire in his eyes. That's what he's saying.
No, you can still see the fire in his eyes, even with the visor. I mean, when he was talking to Guinan, you could see his eye movements. You could exactly tell what his eyes were doing.
Yeah, you can see the behind sometimes with the lighting, but...
Well, yeah, but I just mean there's enough eyebrow action. You can tell if he's sad or happy. You can tell.
Anyway, this episode, I forgot it started with the holodeck, and then I saw that, and I'm like, oh, good God, yes, that's right. But... No, this is one of my favorite episodes of Trek in general, definitely the TNG. And this is definitely one I like to revisit whenever I can. It's a fun episode. It's kind of got that history vibe, but still got another ship. We get some cool stories of ancient battles and the Booby Trap, which is cool. And just everything is so awesome in this episode. Good use of holodecks, properly done. I love how it incorporates a lot of her lectures and texts and stuff and turns the actual physical model into a pretty accurate representation of what she would be like. So, I mean, there's a lot going on here. Plus, they solve a massive problem, and the best solution for the problem is just to kind of turn everything off, get technology kind of put to the side. So I really love this episode. What can I say? It's fantastic, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. But on this rewatch, I didn't notice anything I haven't noticed before, because this is, like I said, this is one I've watched quite a bit. So the only thing, I just completely forgot that it started with this stupid holodeck scene.
But that violin, though.
Yep. We'll forget all about that. Sterling Holmes, though, he's the new first time live catcher anyway. Throws in $10. I gotta say I love your last name, and your initials are SH, so it's pretty fantastic. I've been subscribed for years, and we met last year during Star Trek convention. At the Rio, Las Vegas. Time I was security that you met. Still great seeing your content. Okay, well, I thought you were a new person.
Now, were you the nightclub security chap or a different security chap?
Yeah, because the nightclub guy was awesome.
We tell stories of that person often.
Yes.
A special place in our trip history, just because it was cool. If it's not you, don't worry, you're still cool too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Matthew K, $5. I never liked that he married Leia. The way he behaved in this, and the follow-up with her was just gross. Don't reward that.
Really? I mean,
it could be seen as that. I mean, yeah. But the thing, what's the follow-up episode? What's the name of it? Do you know? Where she comes on board, finds his browser history.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, it's also a different era in the sense that people can make other people. So the boundaries between what is that real and not that real is way more, tricky anyway. And so people adjust for that because...
Galaxy's Child, that's the episode. Sorry.
Oh, okay. But I mean, the thing is, Geordie's doing it with no malice, no ill intent, purely the genuine, nature of chemistry. So it's and. Yeah.
You got to wonder how often if you went back to the program or used.
Well, that's the other question, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, kissing is bad enough at the end, but at that point, it's just using it kind of like a porn program. But it's like, if you're gonna delete the browser history anyway, then what does it matter in the real grand scheme? It's how he acts to the real one, and it's a little bit weird. But again, it's a weird scenario. I mean, he had good intentions, and he,
Yeah.
they were obviously compatible mentally and sci-fi-ly and technically, and
Yeah. Look out to our radio, though, puts in £5.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Plenty of references of the ship in a bottle in this TNG episode. And when Picard kicks Wesley out of the driver's seat, great episode. Geordi gets the girl, kind of.
Yeah.
He gets.
Stuart, it was the nightclub chap.
Was it? Oh, you are awesome.
The
We love you so much. Yeah, that was. We should tell the story again then.
Sir, would you like to be embarrassed? We'll give you the choice. It certainly made that night extra special. It's not never you get that vibe. But thank you. It was very kind of you to be what you were.
We won't tell the story unless you give us permission. But Zeraxis throws in $5. Saw your email, Sam, and already responded. Also, love this episode of TNG. Great world building and neat techno jibber jabber. Yes. So there you go. All right, so now it's your turn. You got to tell me what you thought of this episode. Right after I read Brian's straight super chat of $10. This episode has some of the best music in the entire series. And yes, I made a note of that. This has a unique soundtrack that you never really hear again, which is kind of nice.
I think we do hear the chords. I absolutely remember the chords specifically, but
this one's got a unique feel though. Like
it combines the season 1 instrumental bit with a new bit, which it's one off. But I mean, there are chords of the other things, but it's like it's got a unique vibe.
It's a standout one for sure. And Sterling Holmes with the $3 and says, "Yes, go ahead." All right, so we were in Las Vegas at the Rio for the Star Trek convention last year, and we wanted to go up to the Voodoo Lounge, or the lounge at the top.
We were told that's where it was happening.
Yes, and we were kind of wandering around looking for the entrance, and we found it. And anyway, Mr. Sterling, Mr. Sterling Holmes there was the guy, the security guy letting people in. He's like, "Hey, I love you guys." We're like, "Oh, that's cool, awesome."
From that web show, right? Didn't know who exactly until we sort of started talking. Yeah. Like, the web show people, yeah. We're like, what?
Yeah. And he asked to work that weekend because it was a Star Trek convention. Yep. He's a Star Trek fan, and he had watched Trekyards. So he's like, "Just a second," and he comes back and lets us go through, which is really nice. Kind of, I don't think we really hopped the line.
Well, there was no line. Now the thing is, there was no line because we were early. Because we just went when we were ready, sort of thing. But in fact, us going early, we got to talk to lots of fans up there before it got cram-packed. Then it got packed, and we couldn't talk to people, so that actually worked really well. And he let us go in like 1 minute before they tripled the price, basically. And so we saved a lot of money because it's expensive. It's the top of the Rio, beautiful, but it's expensive. And so he saved us like $25.
Now, if we screwed that story up, Sterling, let us know.
Well,
but that's how
do you want me to play drunk us version?
Oh, sure.
Let's see what we said 1 minute after this happened.
Oh, 1 minute after it happened. Okay, yeah, let's.
So here we are. Stuart, okay.
You hold it up.
So, good nightclub. The bouncer. What do you say?
The bouncer. There you go, guys.
And how special
Live-
is that I can play a video that we recorded less than a minute after, while
Live
being a
in the
little bit
moment.
tipsy, and it's the exact same story. Stuart, it's the exact same story. There's nothing different, actually.
Well, a little bit different. Anyway.
So you, sir, got a very good $12 of fame there. Well done, thank you. Next time, be there again and do it again.
And Zachary Gibbons says, well, Trekyards should always be considered VIP. And I like the way you think.
You're promoted to
Yes.
to ensign second class. Wait.
Yes.
Is it good to go up or down a class?
That's a good question. I don't know. Olivia Julius though throws in $2 and says hashtag Picard fertilizer because why not?
Because she must.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
So,
All right.
Stuart,
And now your thoughts.
not.
I gotta read super chat first. I'm just kidding.
I like this one. I remembered you saying you loved it, so I think I went a little bit too high expectation.
That means you didn't like it. You found something wrong with it.
No, I'm just trying to think about the vibe. It's an interesting one because we had a similar one in season 1 where they run out of power and they basically like on the bridge say we're just going to sit here and die because the air's running out, and a similar vibe of there's going to be radiation. So it had a similar vibe to other ones, and we just had a couple of episodes where they go through the proceduralness of the story, and we like that. We like that sort of through the problem, and that works really well. But in fact, the pace, just like last week, stays very constant for most of it. It kind of need like one other little something. I'm not sure what. It a little bit more of a something spark, you know. And in rewatching it, oh yes,
I know exactly what the something spark should be. Why was Data's energy not being drained as well? It'd be cool if they needed Data to do the calculations or the adjustments, and it turns out by that point he was so drained of energy because it would be draining his energy as well. You would think, unless it's a different power source, and then why not look into
I
that?
presume he's protected by the shields, but yeah, as soon as the shields are failing, that would make sense.
Well, I mean, even the ship was being drained with the shields up, so I figured he'd be getting drained. Anyway, that'd be a cool little side story to throw in there.
But it wouldn't be an exciting pace thing. It'd be another brr, 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 brr.
Literally.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like it almost needed a scene where they decided to use torpedoes, not phasers, because it would not drain power, and they start basically playing asteroids. And they say we have 9 torpedoes, and they're like, right, we've got to make them work. And they cut to Worf, and Worf's like uses his gut and he destroys a couple or whatever. You know, something kind of like that, like give a bit of an action beat. So they destroy 9 successful asteroids that work, and they get like an extra hour back or something. You know, just a little extra. Again, it's not big complaints.
Yeah, the problem with that is, though, Data says to create the field of this
I know.
radiation, like 100,000 generators.
But
It's
then-
like, seriously?
Well, it's a 1,000-year-old tech, and it's a big ship. I mean, this is much bigger compared to the Promelian, and if that was the Deredex of the time, this thing is the bloody Voth City ship at the time. So, but they could have had something like there's a few control nodes, you know, bigger asteroids that if they can destroy, it kind of resets the system a little bit. That would have been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Although maybe you know what it would have been. It would have been. Geordie works out it has to be a 2-pronged strategy at the end. They need the Promelian ship to do something cool, like fire its death beam, and it's called like a death beam, Promelian death beam, and it can do something that like draws the drain systems away from the Enterprise. It gives them the initial push, but they have to lower the shields to beam over, which makes them lose an hour, and so they have this like little debate of, you know, we can do both, but like we can't do any tests. It's now or nothing, and then lets a Promelian do something, and you see it power up maybe, and you see it charge, and you get a really cool like. I think that would have been like the extra something to let it have a bit more of a purpose, because now in retrospect, it's not as important as you think it is. Because about 7 minutes in, Picard's like, I've seen all I need to see. And it's like, really?
You're just on the bridge. That's it.
That's you know. I mean, how many hours can we spend on the TOS Connie Bridge? Okay, we've done that. Not actually as many as you think, but I mean more than 5 minutes.
And there's a whole other ship attached to that bridge.
Yeah. Sterling says, when we reopen after lockdown, I have to get you back. I'll have you back. I have you back. I got you. Yeah. Good man.
Thank you. And Mellow Canuck, the ship is the size of a Romulan. No, it's not. He's saying if it was the Deredex of its day, as far as size goes, things have been upscaled, obviously.
Yeah, the perspectiveness of it, yeah.
Anyway, let's get into the episode, because it's a good episode. It's worth talking about. Let's do it to it.
Sure thing.
Hold on, I gotta pull up my notes here.
And for some reason, Audacity is closed. Okay, that was meant to be open. Or the other things. Boo. Okay.
What happened?
Oh, I was about to go to the thing and it wasn't on, even though it was meant to be on. Weird. But I did like this one. I just think the pace was interesting. And also, I think this one's a fun example of hardcore science and hardcore character in unison, because it fully commits the Geordie stuff. Weirdly enough, it fully commits the science stuff, which you don't often get that in parallel, and that was quite refreshing. Because Geordie, I mean, bloody hell, LeVar Burton carries a lot of this episode fully. Like, he is an excellent actor that is acting through a serious difficulty, and he is absolutely. I mean, most actors couldn't do that. I'll say that now. Most could not. They were very lucky with him auditioning and getting the part, because he is knocks this one out of the park in terms of what he delivers. So very well done. Yeah.
Area 51, $2. I love the music for this episode, and I agree. I made a special note of it because I love it as well.
Yeah. Okay. So...
And yeah, my Fungili is she's sharing the recipe via Jeff, because there's actually a recipe for the Fungili done by Leah Brahms, so you can make it yourself. We should all make it and eat it while we're doing the review.
Well, we'll stop now. We'll see you back, but we'll keep live though. So if you want a super chat, we'll come back and I'll be like $1,000 of blank space. Or we'll just start episode 1 Trekyards. We'll just, you know what we should do, Stu, is just do a live where I just have every episode on repeat and send me super chats we get in like a 24-hour period, just being live.
And never be able to answer the questions.
We'll do a catch up like other YouTubers do who don't actually respond during. We'll do like a catch up stream and just anyway. Sorry. Starts off on a, I'm assuming real beach, but with a extension with a spacey thing. So that looks real enough. Given the fact there's actually water, and water's hard to do in a set.
Yeah, the lighting doesn't look right though for being real. I think there's probably like you can almost see like them being placed in there. They're filmed on set and then
It'd be easier not to though, honestly.
I know, but the lighting doesn't look right. It's not. I know it's supposed to be moonlighting, but
you know what this is. This is a local like beach at like twilight, and they put lights like a little bit, and they're digitally doing all the sky stuff. That's what I think it is. At least this one is. The next one looks more like a set, so it could be. It could have been digital waves, but it looks good. I think it's well done for what it is, and it's nice to start outside.
Yeah.
Although you've got to ask yourself, right?
Yeah.
This woman agreed to go on this date knowing it was a date, and yet clearly she doesn't feel anything. And the way it's written, you don't get a sense that she's trying. You get a sense that she's, you're a nice guy, Geordie, but it's like, it feels like either like a pity date or I'm not busy that night. Because she plays it so not cold, just the opposite to warm without being cold. And it's like, why did you say yes? Oh, maybe he's security cheat. Maybe because he ordered her to.
Yeah. Well, it's also like we didn't see what happened prior to this because maybe he creeped her out some other way.
I know, but that's a mean thing to start on. From just what we're given.
I know.
I mean, what
but
do you
I like
guys
being
think?
mean sometimes.
That's true.
Olivia Julius, $2. Trekyards cooking channel. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Or just drinking channel.
That's better for sure.
Oh, I lost a bet date. That's funny.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. And Jill says musicians that come to the table are horribly irritating. I tend to agree.
But I think that's an ultra old school thing to do. I would never consider that. I think that's terrible. Because then you've got not even the fact that it's the music, it's that now someone is watching you. It's someone's job now to stay literally one earshot away.
Well,
I couldn't.
Yeah, like when people are like singing to you or something, I feel embarrassed for them almost, because it's like, I don't know, it's a weird sensation. I get really uncomfortable when people like focus on you directly. It's like, please don't do that.
Oh yeah. So, yeah. And a couple of good comments. Jeff says sometimes they want to see if you've got a good game or got a game. Tinzagari says she must have read How to Advance Your Career Through Marriage. Oh,
yes.
Oh, Norman's a good one. Unless you're going to read Norman's.
Norman?
Yeah.
Oh. It could be she was hoping for coffee in 10 forward, and instead he takes her shoes off and takes her into private view. Yeah, see, that's what I think is more likely. Um, yeah,
He puts on an actual full-on romance atmosphere on date 1, when all it should be is a get to know you.
yep. I think that's exactly the situation.
And did you notice how he has several cups, and the two they happen to use almost entirely match their colours of their clothes? The pink is basically identical, and the other one's yellow, but I mean it's close enough. It's like, wow. But I mean, she's so like not friendly to him. You feel sad for him because shouldn't have said yes.
Jeff Jacobs, $2. Sometimes I want to see if you got game. Cool. And Olivia Julius, $2. This scene is way too awkward.
But it's a perfect setup, though. I mean, it's exactly what it needs to be, and it looks good. It's a cool shot thing.
And he can't take a hint. Like, does he think that snapping his fingers, getting them to use the violinist there is going to change her mood? Because it does change her mood a little bit for the worse, but just and he's kind of tone deaf when it comes to like reading women, I guess. The visor gets in the way.
Well, I mean, her spacion levels and her thalaron particles don't quite tell you what she's feeling. You can tell how many microns of background radiation she has, but not her feelings.
And then he like slides close to her and goes to put his arm around her, and then she sees his hand and she's like, "Jordy," and he's like, "What?" And he puts his hand on his shoulder and then kind of slides it off. It's like, oh, just.
But then to say I don't see you like that is the wrong thing to say when you're already on a date with him in a romantic setting. That's the wrong thing to say. They both handled it wrong. Boo. But at least we get to see a sort of a normal day in the life of moment, which was very irregular in Star Trek especially. So good for them for giving us somewhat normality. It's nice. And then you get back onto them forward. A rather good blue screen comp. Very clean. I like it. And they're standing up playing 3D chess for some reason. Oh, and there's green in the frame. Didn't notice that. 2 TOS references. That's cool. Probably unintentional, but I'll give them that.
Yeah. And here they start talking about the battle. The Aurelius 9. Yes, exposition scene. Aurelius 9 was the final battle. Neither side thought it would be. So I mean, not really much going on there, but it's interesting seeing them play chess, and I don't know. I think it's a good scene. Why they're standing, I'm not sure, but it looks good.
And I think the sense is that Wesley is sort of surprisingly doing well. Not actually almost beating him, just a surprising amount of, Wesley's happy, and you can imagine he's very smart. They don't ever let it get that way, but you kind of get a sense that it's actually closer than you'd think.
And then,
yeah.
Jordy was supposed to have that hot date tonight, and he's back early. And
then he stares at this woman without realizing he's staring at this woman.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It's like, oh my good God, that is so creepy, dude.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but I've never once gone to a bar by myself and just sat at the bar drinking. To me, that sounds like the saddest thing you can do, because what do you expect to happen?
That's the point of going to when you see these scenes or the person drinking by themselves. I mean, I've considered sometimes going, but never have. So
I mean, it's a waste of everyone's time. I mean, if you're friends with the bartender, that's fine, but then you're not drinking alone. You're hanging out with the bartender while he's working. That's a totally different situation. It's like I've got the pub chain in England in Bedford. You often see like 60-year-olds, 60, 70-year-olds just sitting alone drinking a pint. It's like, what is wrong with you? And it's, I've taken Marie there at 12, and it's like, why are you drinking at 12? I know you've got nothing to do, you're retired, nothing to do, fine. But you're alone, staring at nothing. I'm really
better than being at home with his wife who he can't stand, staring at her. That's why people.
At least she has things to stare at.
That's why I go to the bar and check out the younger chicks.
Yeah, but it's just. Like, it should have been a guy there, and he'd be like, "You alright?" And Joy's like, "What?" Oh. I don't know.
Olivia Julius, $2. Data on level 2 hard mode.
Yeah.
Anyway, they get called to the bridge, and they find out there's an ancient interplanetary
yes.
stress code. which is cool because you see the ops panel, you see the little code thing, which is nice. You never really see anything
Nope.
interactive on those panels, but that's really cool. I like that.
They put time and money behind that, and it works. It's gentle, and boy, what a clean, simple, efficient interface.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be fair, they are wasting a lot of space in the upper, like, yellow panels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just non-space. I mean, they should also be... But apart from...
Reconfigurable, though.
You say that, but then, there should be more information there.
Trust me, I play Bridge Crew. You can change it. Just different screens.
And then you get the reveal, Promelian and Battleship, and you get a lovely little 3D pan. They have fun with the miniatures in this one. I'll actually give them credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of next when they come out from the titles, wow, that is a very well lit miniature. Like for a clean grey miniature with no lighting, like internal lighting, that is a really well lit miniature, and it's a good camera motion that they perfectly match with the Enterprise and them. That is a very well done. I mean, it's a bit Star Warsy, although it's also painted with sort of Star Trek and Babylon 5 plates, but very well done. That's a great looking shot.
This is where I put unique, great soundtrack for this one.
Yep.
Worf's amazed, it's Promelian battle cruiser, and then Picard's like, with its Lang cycle fusion engine still intact. So I love that. It's like, oh look, it's an old whatever with the piece that's never on it and it's still intact. It's great. No life signs aboard. Go figure.
Well, 1,000 years. But I like how they have this debate about is a tricycle coming from the asteroid or inside the field because it's been 1,000. No one can survive. Like, no one can survive, and Picard's like, maybe not.
I should hope not. That ship belongs in a museum. And all I saw was Indiana Jones from Temple of Doom. That belongs in a museum. But the call for help initiated over 1,000 years ago.
Picard says, I think we're a little late. So they don't know what it is yet. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we find out that they're at Aurelius 9 to chart a battle in which the Menthars.
By Menthar's hammer.
But it sounds more like a gum. Menthar fresh. And the Promelians fought to extinction. So anyway, they decide to go over. But yeah, it's a great pan of the ship. Lots of cool detail. Then we get Picard and Riker walking down the hallway, and Riker's like, "Sir, I think we should probably do a security sweep of the ship first." Picard's like, "No, captain's prerogative." We find out that, what he mentions too, did you ever dream of climbing inside the ship in the bottle? The ship inside a bottle. And Riker's like, what?
He's kind of dated in that moment, isn't he? He's like, Captain?
Yeah. Yeah, when you drink, you see ships in the bottom of your bottle. Oh my God, you drank too much. They go into the transporter room, find out there's adequate life support conditions over on the other ship, which is convenient.
Well, if it's airtight, I mean, it'll be stale as all hell, but I mean...
Yeah. But it's exactly as they left it, Commander. In the bottle. And everybody kind of looks at him funny. What, did no one build ships in bottles when they were boys? I did not play with boys.
No.
Toys.
No.
Oh, that's the blooper. Yeah. I did not play with toys.
No, sir. I was an orphan. My family got murdered and I became a warrior. I went to Russia and fought in the games. Then I joined Starfleet.
And Data said, I was never a boy.
Yep.
And then Transporter Chief O'Brien speaks up. I did, sir. Riker kind of looks at him. And then later when they beam over, he's like, I did. I really did. I wasn't just sucking up to the captain.
And Picard says, promotion!
Yeah.
On the spot. I grant you regular character on another TV show. What's that? Nothing. No, it's lovely to see Picard be archaeology. And it's nice to have his archaeological love span actually be quite diverse. Because, he looks at ancient civilizations and also ancient spacefaring civilizations, which is both ancient but also not... Like, it's funny to have an archaeology of ancient sci-fi interstellar people, because it is. We just haven't got out there to know all that. But it's still archaeology, just of alien spaceships, which is almost definitionally doesn't work, but the things it does. Although the ship in a bottle thing, I mean, it's he shouldn't be surprised because it's obviously not a normal thing. He lived in a antique chateau in France with a family that like antique things, without replicators, without whatever. So he learned to play with fun things. Everyone else had normal lives. So no, it's not a normal thing. He's just a bit of a, in a nice way, odd duck. But it's nice it was normal. But I mean, Geordie...
Stuffy old turd.
Wow, Jesus. But Geordie, Geordie built a ship. So, I mean, he built a ship out of a bottle. So I'm sure he can at least talk to him about that. Mm-hmm. Geordie, have you ever thought about putting that same ship in a bottle? A bottle, sir? No, I want to touch it. No, Geordie. If it's in a... Wait, was it?
They could cheat now. They could just beam a bottle around the ship instead of having to build it inside the bottle.
Mr. Worf, when we were fighting the Hathaway, didn't Mr. Riker see you making a miniature ship? Yes, Captain. Put that in a bottle. No, Captain. He was making a ship as well.
He was, yeah, absolutely.
So actually, most people have made miniatures.
My Fungili puts in $2. Poll the chat, please. Do you believe O'Brien? Do you believe that he played with ships and bottles, or is he just sucking up to the captain?
Oh, I absolutely believe it.
I do too.
They thought this would be funny, so they did. No, I buy it. But I don't get the sense he loved it in the same way. It was just a casual thing he did.
He loved it in an engineering way, as opposed to like the imaginative explorer,
absolutely,
ancient history way.
Yep, 100% agree with you.
He was building Constitution classes in bottles, not sailing ships. It's still a ship in a bottle, but
he was trying to one up his friends on like, how did you get a Borg cube in a boat? But I like this scene. It's nice to see again. Picard's been given some good stuff this season and out of the box a little bit. Yeah, it's good.
But
a little power drain. Oh dear.
Oh yes, little power drain.
Very early setup is good.
But then they get on board. They're looking around the bridge, and Picard says the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. You'd expect a bridge layout of this era to be awkward and clumsy, but look at this. It's marvelously simple, marvelously simplistic. Why would you expect it to be awkward and clumsy just because it's 1,000 years old? Their tech is probably on the same level as yours is right now, kind of thing. Maybe a little bit behind. But later they say that humans were still like using steel crossbows and perfecting the mechanical clock at the time. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't make sense that he would say that about...
Like, if this was their first warship, but he said this design they made for generations.
Yep, he did. Yep.
That's a misunderstanding of how societies work.
This is the most advanced ship of their time.
By that logic, are you saying their entire design eco-structure was clunky? If it was clunky, then to them it wasn't clunky, because they wouldn't build it that way after enough time. They think geometric shapes work better. They think blockier shapes more efficient. It wouldn't be. They
have 9 arms, so the bridge layout doesn't make sense to somebody with 2 arms. Who knows?
Yeah. It works perfectly well for when you find an older Federation ship. Doesn't work with an alien ship. No, it doesn't work. And I like the idea of this scene, but I think it falls quite flat. We never get a wide shot.
No.
Do you remember when they go find the Pegasus, the engineering core, and they take the thing out? You get a full pan of the room, and you get a sense of, big, cool, special room. Great. Mm-hmm. You get all these sort of medium shots. It's obviously redressed for a set. They've obviously only got like half a set. You never get a vibe, except dusty and a bit blocky. So I do think this fails on, they didn't have the budget, they didn't have the time. They obviously just couldn't redress Battle Bridge. They were a little bit stuck. They obviously just put a few pieces, but it does let itself down because it's meant to be this cool thing. And this is when you realize the Promenian thing is a red herring in itself. You remember it being cool. It really isn't that cool because they can't commit to it. And in fact, those walls behind them are just that for the computer core. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that like chair is from the either Romulan ship or the Klingon. Like it's you can sort of see the redresses as you go. So I don't think it really works because they just didn't have the money to make it work. And so when he says it's clunky, it's like in a close-up where you see nothing. So you're like, is it? Fuck if I know. I'll trust you on that.
It's simplistic, yeah.
So it doesn't really work, but that's okay.
Jersey throws in $5. In Friendship 1, Lieutenant Carey was building Voyager in a bottle, but in reality it was a Voyager Hallmark ornament with the nacelle broken off. Yep,
Nice.
I have that ornament too.
Brilliant.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool seeing the crew member there, kind of desiccated. You think the air would be really stale and disgusting, but I mean, it's cool. I like the idea of exploring this ship that has been sitting there for 1,000 years. It's just a cool idea.
The problem is this first bit is kind of like Threshold, right? Where the concept is brilliant, changes. This obviously becomes a Booby Trap episode, but this could have been an entire episode of just we learned about this ship. Let's explore it for 32 minutes until we find something.
Mm-hmm.
That could be like build us a set, like the Dauntless, right? The Dauntless wouldn't have worked if they couldn't have made a full set for it. But that's a similar, like we found a ship, like that's fully realised. This one nowhere near. I was intrigued enough, didn't really do it, but I love the desiccated corpse. That's a good. Although we only get to see one. They don't splash out in this bit. Like, does it eat his crew? Is that what they're trying to tell us? Because the only one we see and we hear about, I don't know. Don't know.
Anyway, we're back on board the Enterprise and on in 10 forward, and Geordi's talking to Guinan. What do you look for in a man? I look at his head. Oh, yeah. Smart and brains. And no. I'm attracted to bald men. Say what? And then goes on to say, I don't know what to say when I'm with them.
The women speak. His first line is, "You're a woman, right?" She's like,
yeah.
Well,
you're doing fine with me. It's like, you're different. No, you're different. But I'm not trying right now. That's my point. And it's true. When you try, you sound like an idiot. If you're just being you, it comes off way different. So I love that advice.
It doesn't obviously always work, because if being you is being awkward, you can't just turn off being you, and you are different with a friend and a girl who you like. So it's good general advice. Doesn't mean you can actually act on it though. As often advice is, it's like, that sounds good for someone else. It's like some girls like macho guys and saying to a nerd, just go play football to impress the cheerleaders. Like, it's advice. It's not right for you though. But it's a lovely scene, and I think they should have given Whoopi more in this episode. Like, wouldn't it have been kind of fun if she says, "Oh, I used to serve on one of those." Like, if she almost holds the key, give us if she was in the Premilian War, how amazing would that have been as a little? That could have been the boost.
That would have been way too coincidental.
Why?
I don't know. I just think it would be stupid.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. But I do like it, and again, LeVar's acting here is excellent.
Yeah. But then we get out of the shot on the bridge. Wesley has this weird look on his face. Main power return is acting weird. Define weird. Fluctuations in the wave guide readings. Oh, okay. Well, that is weird.
But you can imagine that happens all the time, though. Like little weirds. But I do like the slow build. It's a good slow build. I give him that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we get the shot of the whole set, and again.
Well, they use those lights everywhere in labs, in Klingon ships.
Yeah.
Those little round lights. And the tube there at the side gets used again and again and again.
Yeah.
But anyway, who cares?
It's very much let's pull stuff out of storage and put it together.
And TOS railings.
I know, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Oh, they're probably from the TMP Enterprise.
Yeah.
Oh, they do get another good skeleton. And they didn't put much effort into the consoles, because I mean, this certainly does go with it being rustic and blocky. Because look at those consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they're touchscreens, it has like 9 buttons. Yeah, they're not very efficient looking sci-fi ones, but that's okay.
Then they find a battery powered. It's a battery powered tea light, essentially, like a tea light candle. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But that's one of their storage devices.
Yep. He knows instantly.
Yeah.
How's the old tech?
And this is when we find out from Picard that when this ship was built, humans on Earth were just perfecting the mechanical clock and still using steel crossbows in battle. Mm-hmm. So they put it in, power it up, and we get a captain's log from the guy. I love how they use the tricorder too. That's really nice. My crew performed. admirably, and I'm alone, and I alone am responsible for their fate.
Yeah, very
Sorry.
unspecific. I know it builds to it, but it's just like, I mean, what? Because you ordered them in here?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't like though that he spoke English
Well,
because,
that's what the tricorder was for. It was translating.
but why would they know the language, especially spoken rather than this is a 1,000-year-old language. It hasn't been spoken that long. Text, yes. I can't imagine they would. Like, I wish he'd start talking alien. Like we sometimes do, and then
Mm-hmm.
they said "Bleep, algorithm complete. Boom. I just found it very disconcerting. He started speaking
Mm-hmm.
in English. It felt too like, oh fuck it, who cares? It's sci-fi. I think that was a big misstep for me. We're taking 13 seconds to fix. Don't know about you guys, but that for some reason that hit me. 'Cause it's such an old species. Oh god.
Double guitars, one-eyed Willie. Yeah, from the Goonies. Love it.
Yeah.
Um, Anywho, yeah, it was neat. I thought it was cool. It's Ghosts from the Past, essentially.
Yeah. And they're
Which,
lucky. It's the best working crystal they find.
yeah. So they go back to the Enterprise, and that was thrilling, absolutely thrilling. There were ghosts aboard that old ship,
Yeah.
and one of them spoke to us. Like, I love his passion here, and it actually gets pointed out by Troy and Riker. Riker's got this shit-eating grin on his face, and Picard's like, "What? Oh, it's just it's great to see you so happy, sir.
We never
Because you're
see
always
that
a
side of
miserable
you.
bastard."
Yep. It's a little bit insulting. She's like, we never get to see the side of you, Captain. You're happy. It was like, what?
Yeah.
But again, the editing between this scene, which is perfect, to I think we've seen what we have to see. It's like you didn't see anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't.
We don't know how long they were on the ship.
I
They could have
know.
explored a lot of the ship and then got to the bridge last.
Give us that line. And he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give us a line. It
And Picard says, yeah. But then Picard says, advise the Astro 5 Annex. The ship should be cataloged and scheduled for retrieval.
yeah.
So they are going to put it in a museum.
Although no one questions that no one's found it before. I find that odd because this is the place they had the final battle. It wasn't very deep in. There was a visible distress signal that anyone picked up that you can read in any language.
Yeah.
They never once questioned. Now I remember for some reason, in my version of the story, that they found other ships in the field that they'd booby trapped.
Yeah.
I remember that actually happening, that they see other ships. I don't know, I guess I was wrong, obviously. But it seems weird though that no one in 1,000 years ever picked up a signal in a place that obviously historians would go.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't work.
It could be a huge asteroid field and they explore other areas of it and just not. Because, I mean, a lot of those things are gigantic. So, I don't know. It's interesting, but yeah, I agree.
Because like I said, I remember them finding other ships along the way, and they're like, "Wow, that's a this, that's a this," because that explains people have found them, and they've always been lost. It's a booby trap, and I thought that would have made a lot more sense. So I don't know why. Again, another slight problem. But again, trying to be fair.
Mm-hmm. We find out there's a 2% drop in energy reserves.
Lovely slow build here.
And then, yep,
Attention, yeah.
we're being bombarded by a field of high intensity radiation.
Yep.
Energy lost increasing to 15%.
Yep.
Increasing. And they try to get out of there, but the engines aren't responding. And then engage warp. It's like, why would you engage warp in an asteroid field? But anyway, whatever.
Yeah, that was the scriptwriter not knowing Star Trek very well, because they're right in the middle of asteroid field. That would absolutely be bad. That was very bad writing there. That was like firing out of your. That was like your aft nacelle and firing out of your torpedo out of your nacelle. That was just as bad in terms of the canon of Star Trek, but it was an audio, not a visual gag. But yeah, that was dumb. Very, very dumb.
No, number one special puts in $2. I'm sure the language could be root of many modern languages. Oh yeah, I could buy that.
Again, it needed one line.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, Geordi's down in engineering. He's checking everything over. He says, everything's fine. Yeah. We should be going like a bat out of hell.
That's good.
Which is a great line.
Yeah. Well, Geordi gets some very good character lines in this. They really give him some good stuff. Although,
then there was
hold on. Look at the MSD. They got two great under console bits and then just a big empty space on the left. They ran out of budget because it's a big empty wall.
Yeah, well. Then we get a commercial break, and then when they come back from commercial break, they're in the briefing room. Power loss now at 12%. And then they start talking about the trap. And did we fall into the snare that killed them? 1,000-year-old booby trap. And we find out energy reserves will be depleted in less than 3 hours. We should go over. We should take an away team over. But why? It killed them as well. Well, they knew their enemy better than we do. Maybe they knew the solution and couldn't implement it.
Like how many times in Trek have they been down to like 1% power and they suddenly solve it? How many of the ships aren't that lucky? I love his logic there. I love his logic. Although I'm surprised that lowering the shield even for a second didn't affect the situation more. Although I kind of like it didn't. It always does. So I'm kind of like, it's just like, oh, yep, no.
Yep.
It was fine.
No, this is just this is a well-written briefing room scene. Then we get down in engineering. Geordi's trying to figure things out. And let's see here. Opposing reaction grows in relation to the power curve of the output of the Enterprise.
Which would think would be obvious in this situation. I would have assumed that straight away.
Yep.
But again, we're seeing the process. It's fine.
And they say it prevented them from forming a subspace field to form a warp bubble. So I love that explanation as well.
I'm sure the asteroids didn't help either, but...
Yep. So he looks up who's this Leah Brahms.
We know at the end they managed to turn the impulse engines successfully.
Yeah.
Why don't they do that here? Like why didn't they go to impulse at this scene? As in when they tried to go impulse, because it worked fully for more than a split second.
They started to on the bridge. They said, "Let's get out of here," and they tried. They couldn't go, and then they said, "Okay, we'll just go straight to warp then."
Yeah, but the ship didn't move. There's no reason why it wouldn't have moved originally.
They didn't give it a flash of power. They probably started it up slowly.
Still would have moved though. Like that still should have made motion. Either way, even if it drained back, that doesn't work. There should have been something else there. Even just something. Obviously, inertia is inertia, so it would have been moving the entire time. But yes, Leah Brahms, the introduction of
junior member.
Yes, that was funny.
It's a junior member. Looks like she wrote the book on propulsion.
Which I guess shows she's a genius like Wesley in a sense. Like she's that young yet that genius, which I actually didn't catch the first time years ago.
Now we're up on the bridge, and
we're gonna be dead, Jim.
Always talking to Picard. We got to move people to the safer spots of the ship, away from the outer part of the ship, to prevent radiation exposure. And we find out once after the shields fall, we'll have 30 minutes before fatal exposure, and then there's nothing I can do after that. If we're here longer than that, we're all screwed. So it really ups the stakes for sure. But again, it's such a short scene. There's a lot of very short, quick scenes in here, but I think it works in all instances.
Although it's a little bit redundant. I know they're trying to extend the life as long as possible, but it's like, y'all be dead, you know?
Back aboard the Permelian ship, we find a little tray full of memory coils. And it's like, okay, we'll bring them aboard the Enterprise and read them over here. Again, very, very quick scene.
Yeah.
Then we get Geordi back in engineering.
It's a good textural build, though.
Oh, yes.
And
yes,
as we keep
well
jumping between scenes, we get a sense of time's passing, which is also important.
Yep. Geordi's trying to figure out, he's asking the computer, which is now Leah's voice. I
do like her computer version. Like it's a good balance of, emotionful and not.
Yeah. So can we reorient it? And is reorient the crystal possible? Yes, this modification will be introduced on the next class of starships. Well, we can't wait that long. We got just 2 hours to figure this thing out. Love that. And then later, it does get introduced where you can change the dilithium layout.
Where's that? Layout. Okay, not the orientation then.
The orientation, yeah, you can. It's in Umbrelix. They've actually incorporated it into the ship.
Okay.
Because he talks to Scotty about it.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a nice tie into this episode without mentioning this episode, which is great.
Although I don't understand.
And I think they mention it on the Defiant too.
Ooh.
that they can change the orientation of the crystal, and they need to do it once or twice.
I gotta say, this did go over my head. I don't know why this is a thing. Like, I don't know why. It feels more technobabble than normal. I'm like, why would this do whatever it's trying to do? And only later on do they explain it's just to keep power flowing more.
Yep.
But how? I don't quite. I guess refractive.
Because whenever they do an action, it takes like a split second before the reactors that are out there can adapt to it and drain the energy. So you got to keep making changes so that they don't adapt. That's why they have to do 1,000 changes per second or whatever it was.
So they're making their power generation be really.
They're randomizing their power generation just like they randomize shields when the Borg come and stuff.
That sounds really dangerous.
Yep, and that's why he says to her, and he yells at her, I want to extend the shield life. I don't want to blow the ship up. Where they have that argument later. That's exactly what she's saying.
Okay.
Yeah, it all makes sense. All the technobabble in this one.
I think if you miss the point, I just sort of glazed over at a certain point. Like, I don't get what. I vaguely get it, but I don't think it's not explained. That's the thing. It's just like presented as it would be, rather than actually given the old, just like this and this.
But when you've watched it as many times as I have, because I love this episode,
sure.
all of the dialogue does feed together and all makes sense. And you have to watch it a few times to really get it all, though.
Yeah, I've watched this one more than most, but that just means I probably watched it on VHS when I was 15.
Yeah.
Literally, we didn't own the DVDs. The only other time I watched it on VHS, so it's been a while. But I have watched it much more recently than the 90s.
And Geordie's like, I need to get in there and turn that thing inside out. Are there any design specifications or prototype schematics? Well, actually, the computer says there's design specifications or prototype schematics. Prototype? Cool. Explain. A prototype is a blah, 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 blah. Like, you don't know what a prototype is and you're chief engineer? Anyway.
Well, no, he means, is it prototype of the old or of the new? Or Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So it recreates Utopia Planitia Drafting Room 5 of the Mars Station, Stardate 40172. Recreate that in Holodeck 3.
Very fancy. It's a great idea, and as you said in the intro, it's a very good way of doing a holodeck.
Mm-hmm. It's what they would be used for a lot of the time, I think.
Although, in reality, what's actually happening is he's just doing a series of yes-no questions and summations through the computers. The computer's doing all the work. He's just presenting manual algorithms, and it's thinking about it. He's just using the computer as an interface, you know. His gut reaction is more just working out variables and feeding them into the machine. So it's not as like smart as it could be. Obviously, it is the future, so that's what it would be. So I'm against it. Just yeah.
But we see the Galaxy, USS Galaxy, being constructed there. You see little like welding sparks and stuff in the saucer, which is neat.
Yeah. And you get this is an interesting set because this is the same exact research set as the Klingon lady used, because you can see the reverse 3 areas. The bridge was a reuse of the battle bridge, but it's been broken down to pieces to be used in more. And obviously the windows are just blue screen. But the way it's lit is so bright and clean, and the repainting is so clean. It
feels so new.
It works much better. It's one of the best redresses.
It's a bigger space. It just feels like something different.
Even though it is just blank walls. It really is. But it's something about it. And also the consoles are really basic. And in fact, are they using TMP consoles? Because look at those color scheme in the wide shot. That looks like the same. It is. So they're using old. Does that say they didn't? Is that giving us another time frame? If they still use the old L cars while designing the Enterprise D?
Well, they're still using them on the Enterprise C.
But there was quite a gap between C and D, though.
There was, but
it's interesting.
I mean, this is a station. This is a research station, so a lot of times those things don't get updated necessarily as quickly. But it's the programs would be, but
it's also the one that's building all the most new ships. So I don't think you'd use old tech to build new ships.
You would, though. You look at any of the shipyards; they use a lot of old equipment to build brand new ships.
But if you had a computer that you just had to plug a new USB into and update, it's that easy.
That's what they probably did. They updated those with the modern programs and stuff, just haven't changed the interfaces. Go to any nuclear reactor. They got the whole.
Would go with the systems. Why would it be different?
because it's a totally different screen layout. It's not necessarily that you just turn it off, it goes black screen, you update it, and it's like Windows 10 now. I don't think
Well,
that's necessarily the case
why
for
wouldn't you
each of these.
why don't you design it that way? I mean, you said, hey, you should be able to play 1980s 5 systems. I mean, that's
You
the
should.
future. That actually should just be plug and play. You know, I want to play in TNG version 1. Bleep, bleep. Okay, great. I've learned it now, but I'm just saying it's nice it uses the old scheme. That's a distinct choice to look old when actually that wasn't that many years ago. And in fact, how far after that this period do you think Farpoint was? Because in Farpoint we see the shuttles use TNG, and you think, okay, it's TNG now, but that could mean it's a very very short period of time. I just like seeing where things come and go.
Um, anyway, looking over the schematics, and he says, "Did you design this?" Then the computer's, well, Leah's voice says, "No, the dilithium crystal chamber, designed at Outpost, designated Saran T1, stardate 40052. Best engineering minds participate in its development." That's the visiting dignitary talk. What's the inside story? Personal logs are classified. Another woman not willing to get personal with me on the holodeck. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice schematics too.
yeah, they're very cool with the overlay boards.
Yeah,
I
and
like
they move
those.
as well, which is actually really really cool. It's very subtle, but it adds so much dimensionality. I don't know why the whole. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and then he wants to be shown the pathways. And all of a sudden, I don't know why the hologram would touch his shoulder. I think that's what you're just about to say, because I have that note right here.
Yep.
um,
Nonsensical. So I could see a finger coming out to point, and he's like, whoa.
yeah, yep, exactly. But not touch him on the shoulder.
But also the way the nails are, the way it looks, it's like he's caressing him. It's not even like a machine one. It's like a hello, Geordie. It's like, what? Doesn't work. It's a poor choice.
Well, the dialogue leading up to it is interesting. We should probably point that out. I want to supplement power to the ship's engines. Is it possible? Yes, by rerouting certain pathways. Well, this is your baby. Show me which ones. And that's why the computer creates her.
He's
and
lovely
he turns
and
around.
confused.
Yeah, he's like, did I ask for a simulation? Well, yes, you asked to be shown, blah, blah, blah.
Well, no, the computer the computer extrapolated his intention. He didn't actually ask for it. The computer thought he asked for it. That is an important distinction. And boy, Stuart, I'm pissed off at you though, right?
What would I do wrong?
Because, well, this episode especially, that bloody seam at the front of TNG uniform I've never noticed in 20 years. And I keep seeing it. I can't unsee it.
But I think by season 4, it's gone. They didn't do the double pleated thing. It's just more like it's just smooth.
It's so noticeable, and I'm wondering why the hell it looks untidy. It looks unfinished. I don't understand why. Like the shoulder works fine. Why would you do another one? I don't get it. It's untidy to me.
I don't make costumes, so I can't answer that.
No, I know. Guys, we haven't had a super chat in a while. Thoughts, questions, comments? 145 people watching. Which means you'll do enjoy this as well. 93 likes. I want to see more. More. 105. Come on. I challenge you. Stuart, are you okay? Your signal, Stuart. What is happening to the signal?
Jarzia. Don't know. Jarzia, $2. The double seam is only around for a few episodes.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Whole new uniforms? How could you remove another seam? Maybe if it's just a show seam, I guess they could unsew it in the inside.
They were probably more uncomfortable because they have to be like stitched there, and it could be a thing. I don't know. Anyway, they just go to the more comfortable style soon.
Yeah, well, I'm good. I look forward to seeing that because it does stand out. It just looks untidy. But I gotta say, I love Brahms' non-acting. That was a great directorial choice to give us the non-acting, because then contrast the beautifully friendly acting. Like, it's even in her eyes. There's nothing in those eyes, which is kind of hard to do. So good job on the actress for presenting a non-act, non-anything. It's good.
And Geordi tells Captain Picard, "We're trying to get enough power to maintain shields. Then we're gonna work on getting out of here.
Yeah.
Right now, we're one thing at a time."
Yeah.
And everybody keeps saying you can see Geordi's nipples. You can't. It's one of the seams. It's one of the pleats in the. It's way over too far for it. You guys, seriously.
Sewing often looks like nipples. That's a regular thing.
Yeah, that's probably one of the reasons they changed the uniforms.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got Data looking at these alien 1,000-year-old memory things, and guess what? Their computer can read it because that's how computers should work. Some information is retrievable, but much has been decayed. And I love how Riker says they were all found in an unsecured locker. They weren't too concerned about security. Well, no. If it's a military ship, why would you need to be? If everybody on the ship knows their job, and it's not like you have civilians roaming around for classified information. So I thought that was a stupid line. I thought it was a stupid line.
Yeah, it's not great. But I mean, I think it feels to me more like he's making a little bit of a joke. Like a little bit, but I mean...
No, I've never got that impression.
And Flerrell counters me, saying the hologram touching shoulder. Why is even the most innocent physical contact considered creepy? Because of the angle and the editing. It's not that you can make anything like anything in editing. If it was a wide shot, wouldn't be. It was just the shot as presented.
Yeah, it just looks weird and intimate and out of place if you watch the scene.
There's a brilliant edit in Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan where Kirk and Savick are in... Is it Savick?
Turbolift?
Yeah, Turbolift. And there's a take, which is a two-shot, and it's the entire scene. And if you watch it, there's so much sexual tension. She's giving him looks, he's giving her looks. It's incredibly different.
And she's like playing with her hair.
Yeah, it is absolutely the vibe for some reason. And they decided in the edit that's not for whatever reason that it wasn't intentional. So they changed the edit to do close-ups, so it removes all the body language stuff. And it's just the people, and it takes it all away. So same scene, differently shot, changes the vibe. Filmmaking can do that. I mean, come on, a horror film is only that tension is built by shooting in certain ways. Anyway, so I hope that answers your question. But yes, mostly they don't work. Boo.
Yeah, but they're getting some pieces and fragmentary information, so we'll find that out in a minute. Anyway, down in Holodeck 3, Geordi's asking, computer, do you have any personality on file for Dr. Brahms? Add data from all sources to synthesize a true representation of her personality. There would be a 9.37% margin of error in the responses. That's pretty damn good.
It's effing amazing. But
he's like, I can live with that.
But what's the percentage of error for the computer's percentage of error? Because
exactly.
So I mean that's like that's basically saying I can 90% recreate life. It's bragging,
Pretty much.
I don't buy that. But that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. So the computer does that, and he's like, Dr. Brahms, Geordi, it's me, Leah. Don't call me Dr. Brahms, or I'll start calling you Commander LaForge. It's like, wow. And this goes back to what you said earlier, her being like totally emotionless to that, and the way she acted that was really well done. So
it's both seamless, but it feels inappropriate again because of Geordi's like, whoa, okay. But the difference being is that from his perspective, talk to computer. From her perspective, she is computer with a personality engram on top of it. So now she's like, Geordi, you've been talking to me for the last 2 hours. What are you on about? And he's like, oh, yeah? So actually, it's exactly as it should. As in it makes sense totally. By like the computer has been given a personality. So it's an interesting concept that you could obviously do this with a lot of other things. Have a lot of other situations and interesting things. Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's a good moment that I like how surprised Geordi is. Mm-hmm. But cause, it is weird.
And then he kind of just plays into it and doesn't question it and doesn't think about it and gets himself a little worked up.
Little.
Ensign Ricky, $2. Hey, Cap.
Hey.
Hey, Sam. Dropping in
Man.
to say hi. Well, hello, Ensign Ricky. How you doing? Hope you are well.
When are you gonna get promoted?
Thank you for dropping in.
See
I
where
can
am,
never,
thank you.
never.
Forbid.
I will never promote him personally. And from what I hear, he's getting a red shirt now.
Yeah.
It's been nice knowing you.
Yeah. And Stuart,
All right, so
152 people watching, which is brilliant. Thanks all for joining. And hope you
like
guys
and
are
subscribe
enjoying.
and all that jazz.
Only one dislike. Awesome. But we didn't even hit the 105 likes I asked for. So now I want to go 110, 150.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
You guys did not click like. You did not click like.
And Devo, yes, we know. The computer leaves out the fact that Leia is married, which Shorty finds out in season 4. Well, why would the computer say, "Oh, by the way, I'm married"?
Well, he didn't ask for the full
It's not
biographical.
relevant.
Oh,
Yeah.
so she's married, and I guess it's divorced because she's married to Geordie by the end. Is the con? Oh, I didn't know she was married now. Huh.
Yeah, she's married.
112. 3 more people. 3 more people. Come on.
All right.
You know you want to. Do it. Do it.
Anyway, we're back on the bridge, and at Science 1, they're looking through the memory things. We find out we will get a clip of the captain. Says the ship is stripped of energy and weapons. They cannot move and they cannot fight. We're being bombarded by lethal radiation from aceton assimilators concealed within the asteroids. Which they asked Data, what's that? Primitive generators that can drain power from distant power sources, then converts it to radiation. They hide them in debris, and ship flies in, and it's an instant booby trap. Find out that we're actually supplying the device with the energy to kill us.
Yeah, that's really.
It's a great idea for a trap, I gotta say.
It's almost too simple. Especially as he's like, oh, in theory, it'd be really easy to make these things into a terrible, deadly weapon, but it's beautifully simple. That said, it's simple in the fun sense of, well, yes, 1,000 years ago, but obviously from that point of view, it was advanced. But yeah, they learn all the information they need to. Good. Back to Brahm.
Yep. And she's
very good fight, very well acted fight.
This is where she's saying that it's possible. We just have to make all these calculations and changes. And Geordi says, "I need the power to supply the shields to keep us alive, not blow us up." And you worked in a lab on a static model. This is a functioning machine with tens of thousands of light years on it. And she eventually ends up saying, "You're good, very good. Well, I know my ship inside and out." To which she says, "Then you must know me inside and out." There's a lot of me in there.
I mean,
it's a good scene. It's really well acted.
It is, obviously, but the lines are intentionally cringe. But at the same token, it's the ship's computer. He's a chief engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Massive respect for him. And he caresses her and strokes her warp field nubs. And you know... This scene reminds me, and especially later on when she says, "But Jordan, I am the computer." He's like, "Oh yeah." It reminds me of the Doctor Who episode where the TARDIS is allowed to, the essence of TARDIS leaves the TARDIS and goes into a alien human body, whatever, and then the Doctor gets to flirt with the TARDIS, and it's like, whoa, and she's like, "You're handsome," and he's like, "Wait, the TARDIS fancies me?" And it's like, whoa, okay, it's that kind of vibe. It's like the ship, but I mean, he is the, you know. He's as close to her boyfriend as possible in that weird sci-fi nature of things. If you want to go outside, I mean, as close as you can get. Picard being her dad and he's the boyfriend.
Jeff Jacobs puts in $2.
Thanks, Jeff.
100 plus likes. We can break 150 easily. Blew it, do it. Make sure the thumb's blue. That's what he's saying.
Jarzy has a thank you for reminding me. Thank you so much. How can the Enterprise D have tens of thousands of light years? When Voyager's faster, only managing 1,000 light years per year. Yes, tens of thousands of light years was an absolute... What? How? In 3 years? What do you think?
I have no comment. No comment.
Okay.
Technically, they have gone tens of thousands of light years because of the Traveler guy, but whatever. It's
Yeah,
just a line to represent how much the ship has been around and what it's been doing, and it's not the static model that they were working on in the lab.
Yeah, I
It's
guess.
not an actual number. He didn't look at the odometer and go, "Oh, we've got 120,000 million light years on this thing right now.
No, but that's
It's
a
due for an
number.
oil change."
But that's a number that no Federation ship has ever had. Tens of thousands of light years, not a single one. But you're right, and if you include Q-Who as well,
He's just exaggerating. He's just making a point.
yeah, but you'd say thousands of light years would be impressive enough. It's just you know, it
Plus,
just strikes me as a
and
wrong
Jeff makes a
one.
good point. How far did Q send them?
Well, that's
Yeah,
what
but
I mean.
that wasn't using their propulsion. That was a.
But I mean, technically, neither was the Traveller because you thought it was the warp, but it wasn't. It was Traveller using his energy to create a subspace thing. He did
Yeah,
something
but
else,
the engines were still having them at warp for that, though.
but it wasn't real
So-
warp.
I know, but they were still on. It's not like Q's snap,
No,
right?
yeah.
Anyway,
But I like
it's
that.
semantics. That's something that I wouldn't even have brought up,
But
to
it's
be
the same
honest.
thing as complaining how Jurati gets a number of stars in the galaxy wrong. It's just wrong. Like,
Yeah.
they should have known
And
better.
she's not a star scientist, so how would she know, right?
Yeah, but she shouldn't say it with confidence if she's that wrong. By like 1,000% wrong. But anyway, good fight, bit creepy. But it is also secure, so it's fine.
Yes, and it ends with a smile.
Yes.
Oh, and he's like, "Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. I mean, stay here. I mean, a computer. Stay program." Yeah, just awkward and weird and Geordie.
But now we have a terrible idea from everyone involved.
Hold on, they asked Data how many devices.
Yes.
To create a field, create this field would take several 100,000. Again, 100,000. They like these numbers in this episode. I think that's ridiculous. That means every asteroid is essentially one of these generators.
I would assume they're micro generators because if you have only like 10, they'd be destroyed. But if there's 100 on each asteroid and they're literally micro machines, then you have massively. Because think about it, if you have a fleet of ships and they're all around the asteroid field, you want to grab everybody. I mean, this is the final battlefield of the war, so they mined the system. And I'm sure they destroyed other ships as well. So it's just they're inefficient, and this is the biggest ship they've ever seen. I'm fine with it. It's old tech combined with bigger ambition.
Picard's asked for any weakness in the field. Nothing measurable. Well, nothing worth talking about.
Yeah.
There's a 0.1% dip. Well, we're gonna focus there.
Yeah.
Fire at that weak spot. Well, that may supply them with exactly what they need: energy. I'm sure a similar conversation took place on that ship over 1,000 years ago. Fire. Okay. I mean, the Promilians are known for their battle, or I guess that's what there's kind of implied. So you'd assume they did the same thing. But before we get to the firing part, James McGill puts in $5.
Thank you.
Great episode. However, disagree with destroying an ancient ship. Should have left warning beacons until specialists could find a way to dismantle the traps. I kind of disagree. That was kind of like a fuck you for keeping us there for so long. Destroy that thing.
Well, yeah,
And I kind of agree.
we'll get to that at the end. Obviously, that is the end, so we will absolutely get there. But thank you, James. Appreciate it.
So they fire their phasers at all these assimilators.
Love the effect though. The asteroids heating up, and then it's a good remaster here.
And guess what? Radiation levels increase 8%, 10%. What a shock.
I don't know why they thought this was a good idea.
Photon would have been a better idea.
That was my gut reaction, but I think so. This probably implies that the Promelians had similarly powerful weapons, because these phasers are very good. These are top tier, and these absorb them without any issue. Now, they do say earlier on that they managed to destroy the entire planetary system with primitive weapons. Now, do you think a nuclear blast energy is similar to a phaser blast? In the sense of if they're using basic, if it's designed to absorb a full nuke, could that be comparable? Energy is energy,
Maybe, I don't know. It depends on the delivery system. It's still the same amount of output as far as like megajoules or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So because I'm just saying to absorb full phaser power is very impressive. But they don't even do any calculations or anything. But a torpedo, but it still would be drained, and I can imagine it would be drained before it can actually detonate. And the detonation would be kinetic damage, which is different to energy damage. But it was where they didn't even try torpedoes, because that's the obvious. Like, it's not pure energy. It's, you have kinetic energy, which is different slightly. But yeah, it was a dumb plan that just cost them time. Like, no one would have thought this would work. Like, nobody.
Yeah.
It absorbs energy, you dumbass. That's the point.
But because of that, the computer notifies Geordi that termination of all programs is going to take place.
I like that.
All non-essential. A computer override. And it just shuts it off. He's like, override! You think the chief engineer would have some kind of override authority, but
isn't that interesting that he can't? Only the captain can.
In situations like this, maybe. When it gets that critical, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still the chief engineer, you know?
But then he can act on his own. Maybe he would do stuff that sacrifices people. It's not as cool. It's just interesting. Like, it's such a small part in relativeness, but it's actually fun. And this is a very well lit green screen composite. I mean, they've had some. I know it's remastered, but they have had some very good. I didn't even realize he was until he was. Very good.
I knew it was coming, so I was looking, and they have the scene, then they cut to her close up, then they go back to the scene, and you can tell that he's kind of like got more of a fuzzy outline than he did before.
Yeah.
So I knew it was coming, and yeah, it happens later too.
Actually, I think you're right, because they filmed this obviously practically. They could match the lighting easier because they just matched the light. Or actually, no, they probably did. They actually just put a green screen behind him in the same set. I mean, then it's perfect lit, isn't it? They just have to have a movable blue screen. I mean, just has to cover him. He doesn't move very much, does he?
No.
I'm saying it's very well done. Like, very well done.
Tenchi 2K7 and $10. Regarding the tens of thousands of light years on it, they were talking about the engine model, and maybe Geordi is talking about all the Galaxy class ships total light years. Best I can think of, still a stretch. The working versions that are out there, yeah, I'd buy that.
I mean, I can definitely imagine that as, you know, this is a prestigious job, he would be friends with every chief engineer of every Galaxy class. He'd make an effort to share tips, in which case he knows all their mileage. That's a good idea. I like that. It's a bit of fan-forced theory, but I think that's very possible. Well done for you for having that idea. Oh yeah, note the subtlety of the space shots now. All of the basards and glows are off. Not the deflector, because shields, but I like that. They don't draw attention to it ever. But it's there. So good job them. Simple but effective.
Yes, we find out that the crystal lattice is breaking down. And we have shields for 2 more hours. Radiation has now increased by a total of 17%. And so now when the shields drop, instead of 30 minutes, we're going to have fatal exposure down to 26 minutes, which is not a big deal. But
yeah, that felt very anticlimactic. Like, how quickly will we die? 4 minutes more.
I expected like 6 minutes or something,
yeah. Yeah, because it's not even like the percentage is equal to how much they lost. It's not quite, but whatever. Yeah. But that's fine. But I was surprised, though, very surprised that they actually do go into the red line. You never get that. I actually like that. So this information with Beverly seems a bit irrelevant, but it actually is important. So I kind of like that. Yeah. It's a nice to the line.
And Geordi's like, all non-essential energy systems have been shut down. But speaking of, I need some back. Simulation on Holodeck 3. Mr. LaForge, this is not the time. Sir, we could all die. I don't want to die a virgin. Would you want to die a virgin? So, I need the holodeck program on number 3 back.
I want to run Bortus's program one last time.
Oh, God. Anyway, he explains, I've created a propulsion design model to assist me. So Picard's like, all right, authorize the override computer reinstate computer simulation on holodeck 3. Your best solution in 1 hour, Mr. LaForge. So, yeah, love that.
And Midnight's Edge After Dark is here.
Hello,
I recognise that logo anywhere. Guys, do you like this episode? Because everyone seems to like this episode. Not that I'm saying I don't. I'm saying, do you like this episode?
Make sure you hit like. Midnight's Edge.
let's look at the dislike
Um,
button. Okay, dislikes 1, so we know if it's you or not. No, some nice classic Trek doing good Trek stuff. It's nice. It's nice to talk about, isn't it, guys? And
this is a
credit to
great
them.
episode.
And credit to them for their rather good dark set lighting. Conference room is not the best example, but when they get into Picard's ready room, it's hard to light dark by definition, and it works. It's a dark, not dark, after dark. There you go, link. And how cool is that engineering set without the primary lights on? I don't know if I've ever seen that with Geordie. Like how red the red is that you never see because of the primary lights. My God.
What are we talking? Which set? Oh, the engineering. Yeah.
That is not the way you see that.
Is it just me, or did the briefing room look like it did in season 1 lighting?
Well, they rehired that guy for one day, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we get back in the holodeck, and this is where they're talking about. Okay, there's going to be a delay between movement and reaction for the assimilators. We need to make changes quickly and stay ahead of the changes. And then, well, we get the Enterprise model there with the engines on sideways, which annoys me.
Yeah, that was a thing. Well, there's also holes in the saucer, so I mean, it's obviously like a weird.
Well, those are just the windows, because if you have the model kit, there's windows with the little holes, and they go in those slots.
So they just didn't put models.
They just didn't bother putting them in to make it look like something new and fancy.
But I've heard, we've also talked about this before, 'cause it's such a nice little Easter eggy thing. I love the idea that you had this as a concept warp model to have them sideways. Because it's exactly the same as
even though the explanation is one of the interns was given the model kit to build real quick, and they didn't have the instructions, I guess, so they put the engines on sideways. But considering it's a lab for propulsion, it kind of makes sense. I like that it's different.
Yeah, it reminds me of in Young Sheldon, where Sheldon builds the Enterprise and he gets like the nacelles the wrong way up, and it's like Sheldon would know. So the fact that it got through, on a CBS show into the shot, hero shot, and nobody checked. Dumbass.
Yeah.
And that show is great. The writing is fantastic, especially in season 2 and 3. But yeah, it's oops. But I love because the fact that it's silver. It is, gives it a little bit of an out.
So, question: do you like Italian food? For some reason, wait till I make you my fungili. Anyway. So look at the simulations. Everything says it'll work. Maybe. I could do it, says Leah.
Yep,
and he's like, Data couldn't even do it. It'll take hundreds, maybe thousands of adjustments every second. It's humanly impossible. I'm not a human. Have you not been paying attention? Anyway, there's a chance we can get out, but we have to turn the ship over to the computer. Is the next scene.
I do like the turn, because you sort of forget. It does a good job at making us so relatable that you kind of,
Yeah.
You're living the scenes with Geordie, and yet, but you never really hear of the computers talking about themselves in the first person as a computer. That's an unusual thing for a program to do anyway. Do you think, in an abstract sense, and I know I'm pushing it a little bit, that the Enterprise knows that it's going to be destroyed, and so it's like putting more processing power into like it's more an actual representation of the computer, because it's like, this is genuinely a solution to save me. Okay,
No, that would imply sentience.
Have you met the ship's computer? I mean, it's pretty clever.
Kind of an asshole. James McGill puts in $2. The Connie models in the cells look different. Yes, they're on sideways.
It's not great. But go back a few seconds and listen to the conversation.
Anyway, she rubs his shoulders. I don't want to feel that good right now. Stop coming on to me. Anyway, Picard comes in, and here's where we get. Yeah. There's a chance we can get out of this if we turn the ship entirely over to the computer. We could program the computer and try out a few simulated runs first. Is this the only way? Says Picard. I think so, sir.
Yep.
So,
but at this point, it's like we have no more time to test. I mean, it's not so much as the only thing. It's like the only thing today. But by God, look at Picard's face though as he sees him and Leah. Like you can tell he's a little bit disappointed and
He's kind of
bloody,
pissed off.
but also he looks tired. Like Patrick looks tired. There was I think he done makeup to make his eyes look more like all of his creases look more dark because he looks somehow he's acting.
It's like, I gave you back the holodeck and you're here with some chick. Like, seriously, Jordy? I knew you had a problem. God damn. That's what it looks like.
Are you the broccoli prequel? As some made the joke earlier.
Brian Straight though throws in $10. Thank you very much, Brian.
Brilliant, thanks, Brian.
When Picard pops in, he always struck me as disappointed in Geordi. Like, he's wasting time in there playing on the holodeck. Something about his tone and demeanor. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is.
And the way he just walks out without even saying anything, really. Like, he listens to the plan and is like, walks out and is like, oh, that's... I mean, obviously...
That's my parent is disappointed in me. Walk out. Shit.
But there's a weird transition here when Geordi asks for the holodeck access again. Basically, everyone on the ship is useless except Geordi in this episode. At this point, the entire weight of the ship is on his hands. 100. Obviously, I guess the computer and Brahms. But I mean, can you imagine being the captain? You can't help.
Can't do anything, and your ship's going to be destroyed. And you really had fun earlier on the other ship, and now it's killing you. It's like I feel like an idiot for being here. It's my fault.
That's interesting. Yeah, that would have been a nice actually callback to have him say, "Now I know how the Vermilion captain felt."
He's leaving he should be leaving a log while he's in his ready room here. Like, if all kudos to my crew, but I take responsibility for this 100%, just like the Vermilion captain did on his log. So that'd be kind of cool.
My version's nice. That yours dark. That was dark, man. I like it. Yeah. That's dark.
Yeah.
But I mean, seriously though, he must be quite upset right now. He is not the science. I mean, he does great in the piloting. Hey, we'll get there in a minute. But he can't do anything practically. So, feeling a lot of things. They are coming off in his character. So good for him.
You got to wonder why Data and Geordi aren't working together on this episode, because this is like an episode that just is a Data Geordi dynamic episode, But they replaced Data with Leah, obviously the computer. So.
But this is why I love your idea of it's draining Data. That would have been perfect, because then you could argue
why they would use him,
that Data's and tell me if you think this sounds a bit stupid, and hey, it might. What if Data's ability to process at faster levels are based on his power reserve? So, like a phone, when you start running out of power, it can start throttling, whatever. And so
it goes into power saving mode.
No, seriously. And so by this point in the story, he's like, Geordi, I can't do my job and go full science. If I am to save, stay active, I have to not help. I mean, that doesn't sound quite right. But
well, when your phone goes in power save mode and it turns off all the fancy features like the cool transitions and stuff, Data goes power saving mode. I am not a robot.
His sentences are even more crisp.
Yeah.
No, Captain.
Anyway,
I mean, what?
We got the ready room scene. Dark ready room looks good. Riker comes in, and Picard's like, "So, we got to turn the ship over to the computer." And Riker's like, "Well, computers have always impressed me with their ability to take orders. Not so sure about them being able to creatively give them." And I'm thinking the whole time, poor Data. Nobody likes Data.
But he's a sentient. I mean, he's a sentient machine. Pretty
true.
And then kudos here for the lighting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good dark. Although, why does he want to live? I guess power save, but the lights don't do much. He's choosing to stay in the dark here because he's feeling sad. Yeah. Because the bulb isn't going to make it. I mean, he could power the bulbs with his tricorder. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he wants to.
Jersey at $5 Canadian. Gotta go. But 8.5 for season 3, 7.5 for TNG. Gravity got kind of drunk in that asteroid scene. But aside from the poor execution, I love the idea. Great episode.
Christopher Rowland says, Picard's never impressed with anybody. Did you see him come off the Vermilion ship? He was bloody impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess is also part of the contrast. Seeing so happy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Anyway, we're back down in the holodeck. They're running simulation. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. And I love that. They change the variables. Let's reduce this. Okay, we got through. It worked. We'll try it again with the exact same settings.
Yep.
Didn't work. I mean, love that.
Because it shows that it's a simulation. it has variables because it's all just being created by the computer, algorithms and whatnot. But it shows that it's genuinely doing the math.
So shields are now down. We're on the bridge.
Yeah.
Fatal exposure in 26 minutes.
Not expecting that. That was a nice little. Ooh, shit.
Everybody's at their station in their seat because they're gonna die like that.
Doing nothing.
Well, they wouldn't die like that because just because you have radiation exposure doesn't mean you die instantly. Just after the 26-minute mark, there's nothing that she can do to reverse it. So.
Oh, my skin. And boy,
But-
Deanna's not said a damn thing this week. Not a damn thing.
That's fine. But Geordi's like, give me 2 more minutes, Captain, please. And Picard's like, ugh. Is that all it takes him? Seriously? All right, fine. Have fun with your girlfriend for 2 minutes. Get back to me.
Wow. I took it more as, well, nothing left to lose.
Except for 2 minutes out of a 26-minute time frame, which is a pretty big chunk.
But hey, if he needs it, though.
Olivia Julius, $2.
Thank you.
When your dad walks into you watching adult films.
Whoa.
Oh. Anyway.
Let's hope that's ever happened to anybody.
Geordi's like, no, maybe we're coming at this the wrong way. Turn it around.
With 24 minutes to spare.
Come at it at a different way. Instead of overpowering, let's turn everything off. And bingo, that works. So he goes up to the bridge. I love that transition, by the way, from the simulation working just to the bridge and explaining it.
Right.
A microsecond blast of everything we have left, and then we just shut it all down and coast out of here. Minimal life support and 2 thrusters only. And it goes back to what Picard and Riker were talking about in the Ready Room a minute ago. Can you imagine when people flew in airplanes with only 1 propeller? Can you imagine that, Will? And Riker looks at him and goes, 1 propeller, Captain?
That would have been an amazing time to have a redubbed Patrick saying, and imagine the first...
Rick Sternbach just messaged me about Wednesday. He's like, what video app will we be using? Not that it matters. I have them all.
We'll use them all then.
Rick Sternbach's going to be here on Wednesday, guys.
Rick Sternbach. No, they... What was the point? Damn it, Stuart. Chat, what was the point? I was trying to make... Good introduction, but... Oh yeah, that would have been a great dub that 20 years later of Picard saying, and can you imagine being the first Federation ship to fly out? Archer really had an underpowered ship. Like, that would be the perfect time to redub in an NX reference.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that. I mean, he wouldn't sound the same having been season 3 to season, 10 years ago, but, yeah. Now, I completely forgot this is the reason this happened. And also my memories now on are a little bit more sketchy. Apparently I was wrong about... Like, I remember distinctly a scene where we see RCS thrusters fire. And we don't. So I'm wondering which episode that is in. Because I'm like, where's my RCS thrusters? I want to see them. Nope. You just keep going... So I was a bit like... Weird.
Would have been a perfect one for it.
Because there are close-ups of an RCS thruster firing. Which episode is that?
I think it's Enterprise, personally. I don't think it's TNG.
No, there is. It absolutely is. Absolutely is. Because that was why it was a really big deal. And it's also going through asteroid field. It must be like season 6 or 7 when they can do it with a miniature. Because the NX we never see do thrusters. It'd be kind of cool if we did, but we don't. But I don't know if I like this strategy. I don't... why would the thrusters not be stopped? I don't quite get it. Like, I sort of get it, but they do say, though, 50-50, same odds as the computer. So it's,
why wouldn't the thrusters be stopped? What do you mean?
Well, if it's draining power, why do they still have thruster power, and why isn't there an opposite reaction to...
All the thruster has to do is open a nozzle to release air. So it's not like it's using a lot of power, if any. It's not like an impulse engine that's an ion drive that's producing.
Couldn't they have been using thrusters to create constant momentum since they got stuck?
I don't know. That's what I would have. That's what would have been one of my first suggestions. Or power all the thrusters. Let's get us moving.
Because I know
so we're moving away from it as we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and same thing. Like, can't you just depressurize the shuttle bay, and then close it, repressurize? Like, there are ways of doing thrust without, energy in the same way. This episode is so focused it forgets about slight alternates that
I'd be willing to state that opening the shuttle bay door uses more power than just using 2 thrusters.
But also it's way more thrust, and they have that because at the early stage they have that power to use, and far less than a phase or an impulse.
Yeah.
And the thrust isn't created via energy, therefore it's not being negated by. That's the point. there's no force to be negated. It's opening a door, which has nothing to do with momentum, and the air that creates momentum. And that's a natural force, not a generated force. It's just, a reaction to a chemical.
Yeah. Anyway, fatal exposure in 12 minutes at this point.
Yeah.
Numbers say it's even money. Computer can't calculate for the human factor, the experience, the intuition,
Yeah, I like that.
and the wish to stay alive. I'll take the con. You're relieved, Mr. Crusher. Love it.
And Area 51 says maybe not enough air stored at main shuttle bay to move the ship. They do it in the Time and Again episode. That's how they escape.
Mm-hmm.
So there is. You can do it. And it's all about momentum. So just do it again and again and again. And the main bay is absolutely massive. Like, bizarrely massive. So there's absolutely enough. No, this is a beautiful moment. Whoever thought this to have Picard in the pilot's chair was genius. Because it happened in season 1. Like, this is completely precedented. And this is why the Picard thing having pilot's absolutely fine. It makes sense. Although I will take one credit away, then in fact, them escaping is bloody easy. Like, there's almost nothing in the way. They haven't got shields, so a single asteroid hit would be devastating. It's incredibly easy. A little bit, like, I remember more to that. Obviously, different episode. But, although, boy, that close with that Enterprise.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is that? That is a nice looking detail.
And Eugene puts in 250 rubles.
Dang.
There is a thruster shot in the Netflix version, starboard thruster on the neck. Yeah, but it's not a close-up, though. I think you just see the shh.
Yeah, because there's a specific tube, shot. Oh, okay. Oh, there is on the neck. Oh, I never saw that. That's a big old venting. But yeah, let me see if I can find the close-up things. I know there is one.
But I love the flare up of the impulse engine and then them start moving, which is great. I love how right before that, though, Riker says inertial dampeners are on manual, so they might not be fully compensate. So brace yourselves.
Yep.
That's great.
Although then you get nothing of that. You get no payoff to that.
Yeah, I know.
But that's okay.
Right. Get up to 135 meters per second. And as they're moving through the asteroid fields, data reports that they're actually slowing down due to gravitational interference from the asteroids. That's reduced their velocity by 8%.
Mm-hmm. Which is clever. It's a good sense of jeopardy, which I like.
Mm-hmm. And then there's a big-ass asteroid in the way. Big-ass asteroid, get it? And Picard starts steering towards it. And the asteroid's gravity is drawing us closer. Velocity increases to warp. So velocity increases to 219 meters per second. Mm-hmm. And he uses the asteroid's gravitational pull as a slingshot, which is cool.
And I do kind of a janky looking turn.
Yeah.
It makes total sense, and I've done a shot similar in fan film VFX. And for the time, I mean, this is miniature shots they could never have done with 6-footer. So all credit to them. It's great. But it doesn't quite feel right. Like it needed close up or it needed something. And also there's no sense it's the end of the asteroid field. Like they are absolutely still in the middle of it. And then suddenly, oh wow, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like you need to see no asteroid field. The editing's a bit... I mean, especially as you can see in the previous shot, there's asteroids in front of them. Maybe not a big one, but I mean, they're still in the field. So...
Yeah.
But it's okay.
They're far enough away from the assimilators, at least. Maybe not totally out of the field, but...
But then isn't it funny then that as soon as they're clear, within 10 seconds, like, all systems, like, you have like this much power reserve. Like, you have to generate the power first, but all systems back is kind of like, give it at least 5 minutes of recharging the bloody capacitors. Jesus.
Well, I love launching the torpedoes, though, like 5 at a time. Full spread. Just boom, baby.
Didn't wait a single second. Okay, well let's debate this now then. So they say instantly, let's blow it up.
Yep.
Within seconds.
Yep. I don't agree with it.
Why not?
I think they should, because I think they should have put whoever said it earlier, put down some warning buoys, notify who they're supposed to notify, have them come in, take care of these simulators. They have all the information from the Enterprise now. They know what they're going into. Have multiple ships that can tractor them out if they need to or whatever. And just get the thing out of there. It's got its whatever engine's intact still. Hold on, let me go back and find out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, with its Lang cycle fusion engine still intact. I mean, those are important.
And
It belongs in a museum, as Harrison Ford would say.
the fact that he's saying that implies there is no surviving one in a museum.
Or very few.
Well, I get the sense. I mean, he's certainly never been on a bridge before. So even if there is one, it's not enough of a state to see. You know, but that's neither here nor there. But it almost, again, I remember the episode, him shooting the asteroids and destroying the field. Don't remember him destroying the ship. Completely don't remember that.
No, I do.
Yeah. Well, and if you watch, I'm just saying, So yeah, it's basically the same vibe as when in Generations when he he doesn't care about his ultra one of a kind,
He doesn't drop it though. He sets it down.
I know, but the most rare thing in his collection. He always says that at one point. It's a similar thing like
But later it's in his archive. Just saying, in Picard it's there.
Yeah, it seems absurd that they couldn't work out a way to shield themselves from the radiation and the effects. And actually, in fact, this does prove that you can fire torpedoes at the asteroids, because the torpedoes managed to go through the entire field unaffected, and hit fully charged asteroids because they've just been sucked the juice out of the Enterprise D. So yes, it might take hundreds of torpedoes, but couldn't you just destroy the asteroids next to the ship and then as you tractor out if you're within range? So it's a lazy ending. That isn't. It's the end of the episode.
And
okay.
Picard would never do that though, because he's an archaeologist. He loves history. He obviously has a thing for the Permelian battlecruiser. He knows their history. So I can't see him actually doing this. It's a little bit of a weird moment.
All it feels is revenge, even though they have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's like, you've made me sit in my ready room in the dark. Considering that my ship might not get out, so fuck you.
The only thing I could see it really working is if he fired on the asteroids, and it chain reactioned and it destroyed it without meaning to. But that's still a stretch.
Yeah.
Still a stretch. But yeah.
But we get to Geordi and Leah. Goodbye. I'm with you every day, Geordi. Every time you look at this engine, it's me. Every time you touch it, it's me. He's like, yeah, baby. And then the kiss.
Which, again, is a bit weird, obviously. But to mean, adrenaline, special situation, she's obviously coming on to him, Yeah. But he does turn her off as quick as he turns her on. That's pretty good.
The interesting thing is, does he go back and use this program? Because I would.
It would have been good as a recurring, generally, as in to solve problems. It would have been really quite fun. But then we'd rather see Moriarty as a recurring holodeck character,
I don't know. Moriarty doesn't have quite as nice lips as she does. So
better hair though. She has
her hair's kind of funky.
Yeah, but it's 80s. I mean, they do their own thing. All right.
Anywho, that's it. Love this episode. It's a great episode. One of my favorites of TNG and all Star Trek, actually. So yeah, it's got a few issues with it, a few problems, very small things, and it's kind of like, have I changed my view watching it and reviewing it this way? Not really. I really enjoy this one. So,
but I feel like I've pointed out things you hadn't seen before that are like, it doesn't quite make sense. Not so problems, just a few little.
A lot of it, a lot of them I considered before, but I mean, it doesn't take anything away from an enjoyment factor for me. Yeah. It's not like a huge plot hole you can drive a bus through or anything.
No. But I like to think I can see new things new things of things.
Yeah. So for season 3 of TNG.
Wait, ask them to give their scores and super chat their scores because we're in the final round.
No, you just did that, so I don't have to. super chat your scores. I'll read them when we're done. And also, if you can't super chat, just put your scores in the chat because we like reading your scores and your opinions on this episode. Please do so now. Also, hit like. Make sure you're subscribed. Join the channel if you can. Here's my scores.
But I'd love to see another $20 if possible.
Yes. What he said. All right, so season 3 score, it's going to get a... I want to give it a 10 out of 10, but I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Dang.
For all TNG, this is going to get a 9 out of 10 easily.
Right.
It's a fun episode. There's a lot of great stuff in it, and I really enjoy watching this one. So my enjoyment factors in my face, and
So this is in your top 20 of TNG.
Oh yeah, easily.
It's funny because it is definitely obviously it's on brand for Stuart. It's a ship episode, so obviously you would like it more than other ones. But it's weird how not shippy the Premilian is. Actually, in retrospect, they don't really give it the money it deserves.
But just the idea of going over and exploring a ship that's 1,000 years old and seeing the bodies and it's a cool concept. It's something I really enjoy.
Yeah, but they should have realized it better. I agree, and I said there could be an entire episode of that.
All right, so what are your scores?
Tricky, I think. I think I've seen more problems with the pacing and things, but I mean, still very solid. I think the Geordie stuff kind of saves it because it's very characterful. So you get that really good character and then really good sci-fi. There isn't as much Star Trek in it as you could have. You could move this into Babylon 5 easily or Star Wars. It's not a very Trek story in the terms of it's not grounded in the lore of Star Trek. Like if it was an ancient Romulan ship or Klingon, fair enough. But it could be many things. I think normally that would lower your score, Stuart, but obviously not in this case. But we get really good Picard moments and Geordie moments. A good little, a great use of Guinan, just jumping in for a scene. Great use of Guinan.
And a great use of the holodeck.
Perfect use of the holodeck. That's perfect. I mean, Worf uses it to beat people up, and there's a place to get laid, and Geordie tries to get laid, and then gets a kiss. Worf makes a baby on the holodeck. Geordie only gets a kiss. My gut is telling me 8 for both. Because it's still absolutely a strong version. I don't feel like a 7 is underrating it. Shouldn't be a 9, but I think 8's fair for both. It's a good balance. It's like I said, it's missing that extra spark. Maybe it just needs a really good Premilian bridge set and more time there. That could have done it. Or, as we said, there's more plot things. So, if you had a spark, it would have been a 9. But it's, I think a solid 8 for TNG Season 3 and 8 for all TNG. So, it's already, right up there for this season.
Got out the first minute and a half of the creepy, awkward date thing.
But the Geordie, that you need that to make the Geordie stuff work. And like I say, if you take the Geordie stuff out, I think it'd be a much less good episode because the ship stuff is not sparky enough. But you have the Geordie stuff, and it gives it that well-roundedness.
Well, Area 51 puts in $2 and says the original title of this episode was Troy's Dress. The Booby Trap. That's funny.
Well, surely it'd be a sequel then, because she's already won it before. But
Olivia Julius throws in $10.
Ooh.
Thank you very much, Olivia.
Woo!
My score is 4 Captain Foley's with a Commander Cockings out of 5 for the first minute of the episode.
Okay.
Is that a 4.5? Is he only worth half of me? 4.5 out of 5.
To be fair, that makes some sense in terms of the context of the show.
It does.
Boo. So that's $12. 8 more, guys, and we can call it a wrap. Let me read out some non-Super Chat scores. Let's see where people are on the spectrum. 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for Season 3, 7 for all TNG, 6.5, 7 out of 10, 9.8. Matthew DeFreitas likes it more than you, Stuart. Clear Foul Construction, 6.5. 9 out of 10 for Zachary, and 8 for TNG. 8 for Brian, 7 for Ryan. 8.5 for Charles. 8.5 for Area 51. 8 and 8. Brian, we have the same scores. 8 for Eugene. Cool. James McGill, what a waste of a good starship. Yep. 8 out of 10. 8.7 and 7.5. 7.5 by Becky. 8 Christopher Rollins. 8 Leo rubdowns out of 10. Well, 10 would be the full finish, and we don't. This is it's still a PG show. Dan, 6 out of 10. Okay. Dave L, 8 out of 10. 8.5 and 8 for all that. 7 and 6 says Trout Bum Wombat. Yes, I had to say that. Wow. Feral, 9 out of 10. So yeah, pretty.
Well, Donnie says 9.5 out of 10 for Booby Trap, 10 out of 10 for season 3, and the entire 7-year run of Next Gen.
Okay, Donnie, cool. But I feel like that's actually quite a good spectrum. This is in the top 25% of episodes, and then whatever you look for is the variation. Sweet.
Olivia Julius, $8, last super chat. Ha 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 ha. Only it's not because Super Coops comes in with £5. Hey guys, great review. 9 for season 3, 8 for all of TNG, 7 for all Trek.
Oh no, I would jump it down for all Trek, because this is done in Voyager but better in terms of like more sci-fi, more sets, more. Yeah. This is better in context of TNG because they had limited what they could do. Yeah.
Great episode. Shouldn't have destroyed the ship though. Also, booby. LOL. And Olivia Julius is back in the last super chat slot with $1. So thank you very much, Olivia.
$1. Thank you. Hope you really enjoyed your filming today, and that means now on the active list, so I have to start making renders of your ship. I have to make sure I have the model first, because I do somewhere, but I'll have to get back from Barry again. But awesome sauce. We got 150 people watching when we at our best, which I think is pretty good, Stuart.
Yes, and everybody hit like. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you're subscribed.
Let's get to 150 likes.
And next episode review is The Enemy.
Ooh. That's 2 strong ones in a row, because that is a strong one. And weirdly enough, 2 very Geordie episodes, which is kind of unusual, like back to back. I bet one of them was probably meant to be somewhere else in the season, and they had to move it, because you wouldn't tend to do that. Because he's like the star of each. I mean, that's a bit weird.
Well, this one's less awkward. The next one's less awkward. Olivia Julius, $5. Get to work, Samuel. I don't want much, just perfection.
Okay.
Well, you're asking the wrong people if you want perfection.
Boo.
We'll get as close as we can get.
We'll do our bit.
Is probably a 9.5 out of 10.
Or an 8, depending who you ask. Get it?
No. I'm just thinking.
Do you not get that?
No.
Your score was 9.5, mine was 8.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
It's a really easy joke. Got sorted.
We should have people. We should watch our like fully scripted ones live and have people review the script and the overall episode and the editing or something. Interesting.
Great.
Sterling Holmes is still here. Thank you very much. $2. 80084. 80,084. What is that?
What do you mean, sir? Oh no, it's boobs, isn't it? It's boobs.
Oh. Well, boob. Oh, booby. 4 is a Y. Gotcha. Sure, we'll go with that. Zerax says $2. Well, I made it back at the end. Always as always. Thanks. Smiley face. And Olivia Julius is last super chat slot of $1. So there you go.
Fair. And Zerax just like he had episode 8.5 out of 10, so right between us. But he says Geordie's subplot brings it down a little bit. Oh well. There you go. Awesome, guys. See you another time this week. This was fun. Yay for good Trek.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're doing a live tomorrow or what we're doing, but
we will talk about it in a moment.
Tune in for Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Rick Sternbach, the designer of Voyager and a bunch of the ships in Voyager and
Deep
props from
Space
TNG
Nine.
and ships from Deep Space Nine and
Prometheus,
everything. It's going to be here
Dauntless,
answering questions.
Erogen, Vidia.
Answering your questions. Mark it on your calendar. 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday.
And
Do
obviously,
it.
the
Do
most
it.
important, the USS Horizon in late 2017 with Samuel Collins co-designed. Yeah.
And Olivia Julius throws in $5. Oh, please don't release the bloopers for the episode that we filmed today. I think we need a $20 super chat to not release them. How's that? I'm just kidding. That's just mean.
Don't do that. That's mean. And Katie Cast says, is it a Q&A? Yes, it'll be a Q&A. Same as with Doug, though. It'll be the same format, so no Discovery Picard questions just because we don't want the hassle, honestly.
Well, he said he's fine with that. He's watched them both. He just no problem giving his opinion on the ships and stuff. So I was talking about that earlier while you were sharing.
Okay, great.
It's whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Super Coops throws in £1. Last super chat slot.
Fight.
Olivia, there's $1.
We should end, shouldn't we?
Probably. Let's come back Wednesday. Check tomorrow.
Yes.
I don't know if we're doing one tomorrow or not. Probably something, but we don't know what yet.
Yeah, this is a great amount of super chats, but this is definitely a bad month for us, so we might have to do it just to jump on. But if we can get 150 people, it always does add something to the chat.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. See you then. Whenever that
Drax
is.
is $2. Bazinga. Oh.
I almost said.
Oh, Olivia, $1.
This is eBay.
Sorry.
This is eBay right now.
eBay.
Oh no, he says 5 likes to 150 likes. Oh come on, guys. 5 likes. Come on. Zraxus, hurry. Yes.
Sterling Holmes, $2. Booby for calculator. Yeah. Thank you.
So now
I figured it out.
all we know about you, sir, is that you bounce a nightclub and you like boobs. These are 2 things. And you've got taste, you like Trekyards.
And we appreciate all those things.
Including the boobs. Especially the boobs.
And you helped us there. Yeah.
150.
And Olivia Julius throws in $1. She got the last slot.
And actually, why are we losing likes? We just lost 2. Like we had 150. We just lost 2. Guys, come on, stop unliking.
Serious?
Yeah. Because I said boobs. Right, 149. Come on, 150.
AC Castillo puts in $133
What?
with no comment.
Oh, that's gotta
Was that
be a mistake.
Was that a mistake? If that's a mistake, you gotta fix that with your bank.
Did you mean?
But thank you.
13? Okay, well now we've got to pause because that's. Huh.
Jeff Jacobs, $2. Nice. Got it. Olivia Julius, $2. End this. Area 51, $1.
Well, now we've got to wait for AC.
AC, was that a mistake?
I like your. Is that It's not Wile E. Coyote, is it?
No, it's not. It's too fluffy.
Because we've had this before. We had 2 donations that were accidental, and it's like, oh my god. No,
One was $500, which was accidental, but
it was intentional. Oh wait, no, wait. Yes, sorry. Which yes, which sorry.
yes, it wasn't unintentional. Sorry. Olivia Julius, $1 for the last slot. Sorry, Olivia, we gotta get this sorted with AC.
Okay, clarify what he has to do, because I don't. They take.
You have to contact your bank and reverse the payment.
Soon.
Yeah. It's all the guy that did the $500 one had to do. Mark Lawrence, $8. 8 friend zones out of 10. Oh, friend zone. And Olivia Julius, $10.
No, 1.
And AC Castillo says, mistake, crap.
I assume we try and do 1, 3, or 13. Or 33. Just out of interest while you're feeling a bit... But yes, please sort that out on your end, because if we get the money, then we get all the fees taken, and so send it back to you. That's messy uppy, so you have to do that via yours. Sorry about that.
You can, and it's easy to do because it takes like 2 days to process for YouTube. So do it like today or tomorrow. He was going to give us $13.
Well, that would have been lovely. So
sorry about that, AC. Yeah, you can get that fixed on your end though. Just say that it was a mistake. Call your credit card company or your bank, depending on how you paid. And get it sorted right away.
Now you just messed up our analytics because that will still show up even if you get refunded. So now it looks like we just made 133 more this today, and so now I've got to mentally take that out, and the numbers at the end of the month will no longer reflect. It sucks for everyone.
It's not a big deal.
No, I know. I'm kidding. I'm just saying. But thanks anyway, everyone. We probably should have ended so you can super chat that. Ah, damn it, karma. But Olivia still wins either way.
Olivia has
Oh.
another dollar.
Stop winning!
She wants us to end. So
You
let's
double
end.
win. All right, good night, everyone.